We have Ken Salem from Thomas Automotive. I met you guys, it's only been a few months, like 3-4 months?
That's right.
And Kevin Jones from Orbee as well has joined into this conversation. But what we wanted to do is just kind of get some insights from a dealer directly on what you've been learning at this conference and what are some insights you're taking away. And then we're going to kind of go into our conversations of what we've been kind of planning together.
Sure. This has been a great conference. It's, I got here Sunday morning early for the first GA4 meeting, and it was deep in the weeds. So I took a lot of information from there that, we're trying to, prepare ourselves to be able to have more understanding so we can do a better job, not only with our own staff, but also we want to be able to hold our vendors accountable. We need to make sure that the services that we're paying for, that, we're getting the best value where we possibly can.
And so in that GA4 conversation, obviously with the ASC standard, which Orbee is part of that program, and we in fact have a plugin. You've seen our Chrome plugin, and it has a way to view what happens in ASC. But compared to what you heard about and what you guys discussed, do you feel like you've got it set up, or there's still a lot of work to do?
Oh, I think we have work to do, and it's exciting because when you look at the data that's available, we really want to be committed to a great customer experience, and we want to make sure that we're reaching out to the right people at the right time so we can provide them with exceptional service and a great buying experience.
Heck yeah. Now, the ASC conversation is led in, and Brian Pash and I have talked about this in the past, is those events become part of a shopper timeline anyway. And so that's kind of where our conversations have started to blossom around CDP and shopper profiles and segmentation and everything else that you could do with all that data. So obviously today has been a lot about CDPs, yesterday as well.
Yes.
So what are your kind of learnings there?
Well, I think, again, that's exciting because, from our standpoint, we're looking at all the different pockets of data that we have that are not connected. And then, everybody really does focus on that ability to make a sale, but we're not paying enough attention to the life cycle of that customer as they service that vehicle and visit our body shop and do all those things that are part of that relationship that makes them want to come back to us when it's time for a new sale.
Yeah, now you spoke about body shop. You have a collision center.
That's right.
And I, there was a tornado recently in Houston. I ended up having to go to Safelite. I bought a part from a dealership. I've learned a lot about what little pieces are involved in parts and aftermarket and collision. That's probably a gold mine for used car acquisitions, for re-engagement of shoppers where you're helping them with their existing car, maybe selling them a second one. Is it a source of leads for you guys?
We do end up with some sales leads from there, but I think it's a tremendous opportunity to really build that trust and confidence that you want to have with a guest. Nobody goes to a collision center because they want to. They're there because they're having a problem, and that's a chance for us to step up and really show our true colors as a franchise dealership that wants to be, a stakeholder in a community, and we want to be there for the customer, not only when they want to buy that new car, but something bad happens, we can get you through that trauma of an accident or a deer hit in Pennsylvania, whatever that might be. And then, that customer, when, again, they're looking for that new vehicle or an upgrade to their transportation, they're going to think of the people that took good care of them and gave them excellent service and took that anxiety away from that uneasiness.
Now, and I'm very curious about the collision stuff because not a lot of dealer groups really spend a lot of time on that, right? But you have software that's a little different there, right? CCC, you've got a workflow that's very different. You've got probably deep integrations, whether they're manual or automatic, to insurance claim systems. How does all that even play in? So is that a whole other area that you have to?
Well, that's something that we're really excited to partner with you all about, is that we're looking at that data is siloed. So those customers we take care of, we get their claim process, we get paid, but then, detailing services, maintaining that vehicle after it's repaired, getting that integration into our DMS, it's non-existent. So that's an opportunity for us then also to connect them to the app that we're developing.
Yes.
So now they can also schedule their service through us and with us because we're convenient. We just think there's a great opportunity to get that for that CDP perspective on our existing customers, and then be able to go to them with timely communication that's relevant and makes their life easier.
And those messages don't even have to be forced. They could just be re-engagement. How's the car after we fixed it for you? If there's any issues, come by. So yeah, a lot of opportunity there. So Kevin, obviously you're new at Orbee, now for almost 2 months, and Thomas Automotive was one of those early conversations. We started digging into analytics and CDP, and there were actually more things that we could be working with dealers on than just the sort of database of customers. So let's talk about analytics and just how that's become a core part of a lot of our conversations with dealers.
Well, yeah, I think that a lot of dealers, when they consider the amount of money, the sheer amount of money that's going into their activation, whether it's, the various marketing channels that are out there, it's a lot. And maybe over the past 4 or 5 years, with the supply and demand the way it's been, that might not have been as top of mind, and trying to be, of course, you always want to be efficient and optimal with your spend, but now that maybe things are starting to look a little bit more return to normalcy in terms of the supply and demand cycle in the market, I think dealers are really focusing in more on how efficiently are we spending that money, and how can we better understand that, not just at a source level, not just at a channel level, but down to the campaign level. Yeah. So that's the sort of thing that we've been hearing quite a bit from all the dealers that we've been talking to recently.
Yeah. Now, Ken, obviously, Mark, when he got on the call with us and talked a little bit about BI and things like that, and he's he's been in this business for a long time, and to hear someone with that level of background still stay up to speed, or really stay updated on how analytics will play into it, and Power BI. I mean, we were talking about some stuff I normally don't talk to a dealer principal about.
And Mark's a visionary, and he always is pushing us to look outside, the standard scope of what we're doing. And I think he has been a proponent of CDPs, and he wants to be able, again, to commit to a great experience for the guest. And you look at the communication and how you spend money on communication, and it is not as refined in the current format as it should be.
Yeah.
And, we're looking for tools and partnerships that allow us to give, again, customers that relevant data. And Mark is, been in the business for years, 120 years. The family has been in central Pennsylvania, and he wants to have control of his customers' data, and he wants to be able to, grow that opportunity. And I think certainly you're hearing a lot in this conference about now's the time, and the industry wants that, and it's going to happen.
And it doesn't matter what size. I think the size of your group really shows that you can't be too small to be thinking about this. Now, you posed a very important question that you've been thinking about, that Mark's been thinking about, around who owns the data that is stored in Orbee. How does it move around? Who else has access to it? Is it being used for other use cases outside of what you guys are privy to? And what we talked about was, this is your system. We are effectively there only for you. None of the data is cross-pollinated to other dealerships. We don't, I think that's an important element that you guys are focused on, which is you never know what's happening. If a company is involved in also monetizing data, you don't know if it's indirectly feeding that. So with your focus on security, it's a variety of things. I think it's ownership, it's your asset, right? It's also the customer security and so forth. So talk a little bit about where that conversation came from, and how the work you've been doing in Power BI and other things all correlate to you having this data rather than it being spread out through hundreds of vendors.
Well, the Power BI thing is really exceptional, and what we want to be able to do is pull information in and have partnerships that allow us to figure out what's the best way then to use that. It's important that we understand that our partners are going to respect the fact that it is our data, but it's also really important to find somebody that's going to help you through the first, second, and third stage of this process so that you can continue to control more of your messaging through different tools and connectivity with different vendors. So that's one of the reasons why we're excited, to talk to you guys.
Yeah, and we still have a lot to learn. Like we work with new dealership groups that have different tools and approaches, and we're always trying to integrate new places. I think for what you guys are doing, feeding you data back from the CDP back into your own data warehouse, wherever you want to run reports, that's an interesting area for us. So now, I think the last topic I wanted to talk about, because I do believe it's going to increasingly become important in the ecosystem of mobile phones and walled gardens, is your mobile app.
Yes.
So you showed me your mobile app and how you have sort of the inspections in there. You have, sort of service history. And we have a few other dealer groups that have mobile apps, but it's far and few between. And I think that you're thinking very innovatively in terms of how you could connect with an Apple customer who, for the most part, is being blocked from tracking everywhere else, but now they're using your app, and the volume's low, but it's a good start. You want to share a little bit of...
Right. Well, that's another thing that Mark Thomas took the lead on and found some partnerships, and we're in the process of actually this month we're in store and we're meeting with all of our service customers, and we're inviting them in store to download app, as well as anybody that services. When an RO closes, they get an invitation to download.
Are you going to give a $10? Are you going to give an incentive?
Well, we're working on two things that we're really excited about inside app. First thing we're doing is anybody who buys a new vehicle is going to get an e-voucher that if they do their commerce inside the app, that's going to relieve them of any bank charges. So we're giving them a $50 gift when they buy a vehicle to use towards any parts or service. Then anyone that's in the store, we're giving them an incentive while they're in store to download as well. And the next phase is we're going to actually have a loyalty program. So as people buy inside the app, they'll receive points that they can then monetize in service. So those are some things we're really excited about and looking forward to showing this off as it continues to develop.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us in this conversation. Looking forward to working with you.